Like we've cured a lot of diseases that are, you know, like Al cured diabetes. And what diseases have you cured, Meredith?
Well, I guess I've cured diabetes too.
Okay.
I just found that out, by the way.
Oh, when did you find it out?
Well, the last 3 times I went to my doctor, she said, well, your A1C is so low, it doesn't even qualify as diabetic anymore. And I said, well, she said, do you want to stop taking your diabetic medicine and see how you do? So I guess we're doing that.
Have you stopped?
That's the same experience that I had. I stopped taking my diabetes medicine, and my last 3 A1Cs have been normal.
My last was 4.8.
Wow.
I don't have the tests handy to look at the number, but mine was in the normal range. The A1C is a test that tests your blood glucose level over a 6-month period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good indicator of how well controlled your blood sugar is.
Well, it looks like we've accidentally started making a movie about diabetes.
Well, that goes hand in hand often. You know, if your body's ever going to generate the proper balance of chemicals and so forth, if you're feeding it the chemical that, you know, science says you need, it's highly unlikely that your body's going to start doing it.
Right.
Now, there may be some effect, you know, if you take a little bit that your body starts keying in. Like if you take some vitamins with the food, it brings out more vitamins of the food.
Yeah.
And your body assimilates it a little better.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's not that cut and dried, but sort of a rule of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do it yourself.
Well, Meredith, have you stopped taking the medication?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When did you stop?
Probably May.
Oh my God, it's December.
That's 7
Well, you
months.
know there's a song about that, something about May to December.
Yeah, right. Da 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 dee dee. Da 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 dee dee.
2007.
What?
I stopped taking my medications in 2007, and at the time of this video, it's a couple days before Christmas in 2011. So I've been off my medications for 4 years.
Hey.
Wow.
And I really had to get off those medications because they were making me sick. The diabetes medications were giving me an upset stomach, were giving me all sorts of stomach problems. And they were making me gain weight. It was actually going against what I wanted to do. They were causing me to put weight on.
And
Well,
there's one of them they find now gives you bladder cancer.
oh, God.
Oh.
Well, this is our, you know, I guess another theme of this movie is boycott pharmaceuticals. Stop putting poison in your body.
Well, yeah, I made that choice for me. You know, I can't tell anyone else to do that, but I recommend that they try.
Well, when I tell somebody to do it, it's as their minister. Thanks. You look nice, Bono. You know, you look very calm and peaceful. Well, now, so back to as I was saying, when I tell somebody not to boycott pharmaceuticals, I'm speaking as their minister, and I'm also aware that their God connection is sufficient to do that. And that's a very important. That's very important.
Yeah. My doctor is really mad at me that I'm not taking my medications anymore, but he can't argue with the results.
Right.
My A1C is normal, my blood pressure is normal, I've lost weight and kept it off.
Proof is in the pudding.
Yep, that's right. I'm not having diabetic lesions anymore. You know, basically I've lost enough weight that I'm back. I don't know if I'm borderline diabetic or just non-diabetic, but you know, my blood sugars are normal.
What's a diabetic lesion?
I I used to get like open sores on my shins,
Really?
and some diabetics will get them on their forearms, you know, and they don't heal that quick. Diabetics don't heal very quickly because their diabetes slows down the healing factor. And I was getting, you know, lesions on my shins
Okay.
and on the top of my head, actually. That's what I went to my doctor. I thought I had psoriasis. He said, "That's not psoriasis. That's a diabetic lesion." And then he, you know, put me through all the blood tests and said, "You're diabetic." That was in 2002. I had been treating the lesions on the top of my head as if they were psoriasis.
So
Oh,
they
wow.
were like kind of wet, open.
Well, it was open sores, as if I had, you know, gotten scraped. And I thought the things on my shins were that I kept hitting the edge of my bed when I got up at night. But that wasn't what it was.
Unfortunately, we've lost Greg and Meredith now.
Okay, I'm going to. Well, what I was saying, what I was saying before, was simply that I want to know that the person's God connection is strong enough, so that you know they're not going to give up their drugs and die, but that they're actually going to be able to, you know, cure the thing.
Right.
And so you should say, how did you cure your diabetes, Meredith and Al?
Do you want to go first, Meredith?
Well, I watched my diet. Mainly, that's what I did.
Well, tell us more about watching your diet.
What that means, you know.
Well, the major thing was don't eat a bunch of carbs with no protein with it. That was one thing.
So always
And-
eat some protein with carbs.
Yeah. And then the other thing was lose some weight, which I did.
How much weight did you lose?
60 pounds.
Okay.
Well, I, of course, lost over 150 pounds.
Wow.
I did a number of things. Go ahead, Meredith. Men have an easier time losing weight than women because our metabolisms are a little different, and we don't have that extra layer of fat that women have. You know, I did.
That's the curves, Al.
Yep, it is. So I did a number of things. I started out just, I can't think of Michael, I can't think of Michael's last name, but there was a nutritionist, Michael, who worked with me, and we, using IMMUNICS, figured out that I wasn't digesting my food properly. So I wasn't getting all the nutrients from my food. So I would get cravings for foods that had the nutrients that I was missing.
Right.
So first thing we did is he had a board full of all different digestive enzymes, and I tested down the board until my finger opened, and that was the digestive enzyme I started taking with my meals. So that started getting me to digest my food better, and that helped a lot. That alone cut my appetite in half right there. But on top of that, I started accessing what to eat. And I had to get someone to help me because in the beginning, my testing on what to eat wasn't accurate because I was getting switched all the time. So I would go out to dinner with a friend, and the friend would test for me, you know, should I have fish? Should I have chicken? Pasta? You know, because you could basically, if you're in a good space, you can eat anything. It's just portion control.
Right.
I could eat pasta or carb, and it wouldn't kill me, you know, as long as I didn't go crazy. And over time, my appetite has been lessening and lessening and lessening, so I don't eat the large portions I eat. Like Byron and I used to go out to eat at the buffet
Right.
before going to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go to the buffet and eat 3 or 4 plates easy back then.
Right.
But now, if I go up, I'll eat 1, maybe 2 plates total. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the plates will be all veggies. It'll be all salad and vegetables. And then the other plate will be like, entree type of food.
You know, I found that I had to train myself to eat less. And I wanted to thank Greg for that, because Greg was talking about how he was overeating and he trained himself to eat less. This is Greg here on camera, and I did the same thing.
Yeah, well, you guys had reputations for having hollow legs, you know.
I know.
It's funny, I used to go out with a friend of mine, a female friend, and, you know, I'd walk into the buffet and you would see the two of us together, and she was this tall, skinny blonde, and you'd see me, and you figured I'd be the one they'd lose money on. But she'd go up and she'd eat, and she'd eat, and she'd eat. She had both hollow legs and I think hollow arms. And I would go up, get 1 or 2 plates, and, you know.
Well, okay, enough stories about how much we eat. Let's...
Well, the other thing is I tested what to eat, like brown rice instead of white rice, more protein from different sources, not just meat, like not beef. Beef is very high in calories.
Right.
So I started more chili and beans and protein from different sources.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. In Philadelphia, Greg would make me a roast beef or roast turkey, and I'd have that with some steamed asparagus and some hummus and some brown rice, and that was my dinner, and I loved it. I mean, it wasn't deprivation at all. You know, I really enjoyed eating that way. So I took on enjoying eating in a different way. You know, and I also had to clear traumas. I had a lot of past life trauma about starvation and starving. And of course, my mother never cooked enough food. She always made enough serving for everybody, and that was it. So I always learned to clean my plate because that was all I was going to get. And it ended up developing a dysfunction around food. You know, so that I'd always, whenever there was food to eat, I'd eat it because I never knew if I was going to get, you know, anything to eat for the rest of the day.
Well, let's go to Meredith. And Meredith, I was just wondering, is there anything else that you did to lose the 60 pounds and cure the diabetes that you haven't told us about?
Well, my issue was addiction.
Uh-huh.
And Byron said a very helpful thing to me one time, that when you want to lose weight, then you have to act like a skinny person.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I began analyzing what do skinny people do? And I didn't know because I'd never been a skinny person. And so I had to access for it. And I have found that I continually have to do that because I've never been able to really get rid of the addiction part. And it's not, the problem is that I don't, if I'm in the wrong, if I'm in a dysfunctional state, then I will eat whether I'm hungry or not. And I had worked on, I made a little agreement with myself that I would eat when I was hungry, and I would not eat when I was not hungry, and that I would only eat things that I liked, because why waste time eating stuff you don't like? And then I would write down everything I ate and count the calories. And so that's how I cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have the addiction.
Well, you know, one way a skinny person is being around food is they're not obsessed with it. You know, when you have a food addiction, that's the other Al. Hey, Al.
And usually the food is a dysfunction. You know, you're eating to get some result, not just nutrition. You know, you're eating to feel better, or, you know, we all know about that, but to actually recognizing yourself as something, you really have to be onto yourself and conscious. And that's what you're saying, Al, about consciously eating. What is this doing to me? Testing about it.
Right.
I mean, I
had to break the connection between eating and feel good. Like, whenever I was upset or depressed, I'd immediately go to eat something, like a cookie or
Exactly. And it goes back to my childhood, too, because when I was a small child, I was really sick at one point and got very thin. And my mother was so worried about me that she kept, you know, overfeeding me. And then it was the clean your plate thing. And then besides that, if I would get upset, her first reaction would be cram something in my mouth.
So how did you,
You know,
take these things out? Like these bad reflexes, these bad responses?
Well, I don't think I did take them out. And that's what I need to do to get on with it and lose the rest of what I need to lose.
Well, okay, I want to make a suggestion to you that in the on the list of lessons in our web college and on thecuredrive.org, there is, in the list of lessons, there's something called the whole life clearing.
Yes. Yes.
Do that.
The whole life clearing. I thought I did that once, but I may need to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, you may need to at least go over it again and find out if there's anything you missed. Also, test through the hub and find lessons to do. And these, after the lessons, do accelerators. You know what the accelerator is?
Yes.
So there's a lesson, I think it's called Skill 2. It's a, right on the hub you can see it says the accelerator, and you do that every time you take something out, and that will hit the, like, it will cause you to see better responses that you can make and new behaviors you can do.
Okay, what was the first thing you said look at?
Whole life clearing.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing I have to work on, is that my short-term memory is just really stinks.
Test this question. Do I have aluminum stored in my body?
Do I have aluminum stored in my body? Evidently I do. Okay.
Now see, the viewer should know that this is the miracle that helps. Like, we're miracle workers. I mean, what you just did is miraculous right there. You know, just getting that one little piece of information, you know, that's miraculous.
Yeah, I don't cook with aluminum anymore.
Yeah, that you can just know instantly what, you know, that there's some, because aluminum causes memory loss. Well,
yeah,
I mean, you can also test that too. You can ask, is aluminum part of the problem with my memory loss?
Yes.
You know, I used to collect mushrooms in the forest by testing them. And I kept getting a strong test on, you know, making a tea out of tree funguses. So I got a bunch of different ones and threw them in a large pot. And I boiled them for, like, very slowly for 12 hours. and then I turned the fire off, and I'd left them there. When I came back and looked in the pot, I saw black streaks going down the side of the pot.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine what happened, what these black streaks were. Well, it seems that the handles, see, the pot was stainless steel, but the handles had aluminum rivets.
Yeah.
Oh, Greg, you're frozen. Turn your camera off and turn it back on. You know, I realized that the aluminum on the rivets, the aluminum rivets were melting
Leaching
into the water. Yeah, because the mushrooms remove aluminum from wherever it is, like from your body. It, you know, dissolves it and passes it out. So
studies have shown that aluminum poisoning is one of the precursors to Alzheimer's.
So I would recommend that you, you know what, write this down, Meredith. It's the word is reishi, R-E-I-S-H-I, reishi. It's a type of tree fungus. They call them reishi mushrooms, but it's actually a tree fungus. And it comes in tincture form, possibly also in pill form. And I recommend that you should get the tincture and take that, and that will remove the aluminum from your body. There are also other things that you can use to take out aluminum from your body. One of them I'm testing is Chinese bitter melon. It takes a long time to remove it. So you just have to, you know, take these things and stick with it.
Detoxing
I know
is very
my
important.
mother used to can a lot, and she would cook all these acidic foods like tomatoes and peaches and things like that, and in this particular pot, and it would always clean the pot when she would do it. And then I realized,
tomatoes are really clean, a copper pot, believe me.
Right.
well, the aluminum, it will leach the aluminum right out of the aluminum pot too.
Right.
And we didn't realize that until we'd been doing it for a while, and finally she decided she wasn't going to do that anymore.
Well, one of the points here is that, you know, hopefully people watching this, like I want everybody to just show what your finger signal looks like. Hold your hands up in front of the camera. Greg, you're frozen. You're frozen again. And this is how we test. So I'm hoping that the people, you know, watching this will learn how to test and use this testing to cure their diabetes the way we have. Because it's little things like, you know, testing for aluminum that enables us to, you know, ultimately remove the aluminum. And you can also test for which foods to use to take out aluminum, and which foods tend to cause aluminum to be retained.
Plus, which herbs will help you detox?
Yeah.
Not just of aluminum, of all sorts of toxins.
Yeah.
I did a 9-day Kalima fast, which got yeast out of my system. Yeast was an important thing to remove.
Meredith, test another question just about your memory. Test, do I have low cholesterol, about yourself? We're testing for the good kind of cholesterol. Low, is it low?
I'm getting a yes.
Because that causes memory loss.
Yeah, because your brain is made up of cholesterol like fatty tissue.
Yeah,
And I just recently stopped taking my statin drug too. So hopefully that will make it better.
oh,
Yeah,
good.
statins really, you want to get rid of statins.
Yeah. Well, boycott pharmaceuticals. Cure it yourself.
Yeah, I'm taking red yeast rice and CoQ10.
Red yeast rice and omega-3s. You know, either really deep cold water fish or flaxseed oil. They have vegetable forms of omega-3s. I think the fish oil is better. But you want to get a really pure filtered fish oil because you don't want mercury poisoning.
No.
Cheap stuff in the
What was
store.
the first thing that you said? Something rice?
Red yeast rice.
Oh, red yeast rice.
That's a Chinese remedy. And that's very good for cholesterol. It lowers cholesterol.
But it doesn't have the side effects of the statin drug.
No, it's a natural statin, but it doesn't have the side effects. You know, I did a 9-day Kalima fast, which got rid of the yeast in my system. So that's the other thing you want to test is whether you have excess yeast in your system.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, yeast will have you eat foods that feed the yeast, like breads and starches and
Sweet.
the high carb food.
Well, I read somewhere, like you were talking about cravings being something that you're missing, and I know craving chocolate is about needing magnesium.
Right, but I take a magnesium supplement, so.
Yeah, see, I don't crave chocolate very much, but you know.
No, me neither. Although I will.
Well, you started taking magnesium pretty recently, right, Franny?
No, I've been taking magnesium all right along pretty much since I went to Oz. So.
Okay.
But you see, dark chocolate is good because it has bioflavonoids and antioxidants in it. Dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. You need the dark chocolate.
Well, I wanted to ask, since you have, like you two have lost so much weight, and actually so did I. I lost around 20 pounds, and then, but I was skeletal, so I needed to put it back on. I'm 146 pounds now and 5'11", so that's where I
lost the whole body.
I was down. I was down to 127 pounds at one point because I was fasting, because I had a hemorrhoid, and the fasting made the hemorrhoid go away. Later, I learned.
Bad one.
I was horribly painful, but later I learned a better way to make it go away. I just increased magnesium and took melatonin, and within 15 minutes, all the pain was gone. So I stayed on it, and I replaced. I just needed to build up my magnesium level. I haven't had any hemorrhoid problems in about 1.5 years. And I also put the weight that I lost back on. But anyway, what I wanted, see, Franny, you want to lose weight, and perhaps we could tell you some things that could help you. But maybe you should tell us what you're doing to lose weight, and then we can perhaps help you fine-tune it.
Well, I've been doing fairly well I've lost some weight, and what I did was I switched from a high protein diet to a low protein diet. Basically, I really cut back. I don't eat beef or pork anymore. I have some chicken, some fish, some things like that. But I just try to concentrate on a more vegetarian diet. And also, it depends on what food I eat. Like if I eat cabbagey food, like too many things with calcium in it, that tends to slow my metabolism down. So I've been trying to, it's better to eat things like peppers and, things that would speed up the thyroid.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah.
Well, if you're going to eat foods that are high in calcium, you just need to up your intake of magnesium to balance it.
Yes, but I found that basically if you eat too many of the calcium-rich foods, no matter how much magnesium you take, the dietary calcium doesn't get helped by the supplementary, so that it just tends to suppress your thyroid. That's
Yeah, also you can get way too high in both calcium and magnesium.
That's right.
So focusing on the right kind of
food. I'm actually thinking that perhaps I don't have good control over my portions, but I have been fairly successful at avoiding eating things that would really put on weight. Like, for instance, I never go up or down, just kind of stay in one place, and then I might lose a few pounds and stay in one place. And I just haven't been able. I broke through a set point, which was really great, and I go up and down a little bit above it and below it, and so I feel happy about that because it's been a long time since I was able to go I just weigh the same weight for years, no matter how little I eat, no matter how much I eat, what kind of food or anything. I think that I don't exercise enough.
Well, I have some things that I can tell you about. There's two things that I think are very good tools, and one of them is exercise. And the main thing that I learned about exercise is that 80 or 90% of the benefit of any exercise happens in about the first 10 minutes. So, people who try to exercise for half an hour or an hour are largely wasting their time. They would be way better off exercising for, 15 minutes 4 times a day than for 1 solid hour. Because what exercise does is it alters your metabolic rate.
Right. So
that you feel good for hours. And another thing is, if you've ever noticed, when you sleep, you're also altering your metabolic rate. Sleep does that. So
sleep deprivation will actually cause you to gain weight.
It's very important after sleeping to exercise immediately. Because what happens is if you wake up and you don't exercise, you are setting your metabolism at a sleep level of metabolism. So you need to reset your metabolism when you wake up, which can be done with 10 minutes of exercise. In fact, I've noticed in the morning before I go for my little jog in the wildlife area, and I really jog very slowly, but before I go, I get on the rebounder, and maybe in 2 or 3 minutes, I completely change the level of the oxygen level in my body.
I told him he had to build up his physique, so he started rebounding.
I started working on my upper body with the rebounder with 2-pound heavy hands. So that's one of the tools, is exercise, and the other one is fasting. And the main objection that I always hear from people who, when they talk about fasting and they say, well, I don't want to fast because I'll put the weight right back on as soon as I stop fasting, which is what most people do, actually. They usually put the weight right back on. Now, at one time, I was 175 pounds, and that was many, many years ago. I have not put the weight back on. So, also, another thing is that all diets, any diet of any kind that's done to lose weight, is a type of fasting. So that theory holds. The program The Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
Well, it's well known that most of the people and including the winners, most of the winners, or in the first year they put on all or almost all of the weight they've lost. They just put it right back on. Now, if you watch The Biggest Loser, it doesn't look like anybody's fasting because they try to eat healthy food and they try to eat a normal diet. They eat pork and, you know, dairy products and everything else. And they lose weight doing that because they're, you know, measuring their portions and exercising very hard all day. And they just spend all day on weight loss. And they're also, cooking foods that seem like really that will help them lose weight. But the problem is that they're not changing themselves. You see, the key to fasting successfully, like when a lot of people fast, like Killy was telling me about a fast that she did, it was years ago, that's a friend of ours, and she said that she, spent the fast just looking for, she had promised herself that she was going to be able to eat half a bag of potato chips at the end of her fast. And she spent the entire fast dreaming about eating half a bag of potato chips.
Was that vegetable one that we all went on? I mean, the vegetable juice?
Well, I don't think that matters what kind of fast it was.
Well,
the thing that matters is...
That's a very interesting fast because a lot of people broke that with fruit juice, which was the worst thing they could have done because they all gained weight. I didn't gain weight that time. I just, I didn't gain it. But I had to really watch myself. And I was listening to this radio program, and the guy was talking about how, if you just cut fruit juice, you can eat fruit, but you have to eat the pulp and everything else, not just the fruit juice, because it spikes your insulin, and then your body starts storing fat, no matter how efficiently you would normally burn those calories.
The fiber in the fruit.
Well, I think we're veering, at the risk of being a megalomaniac here.
Yeah.
I would like to actually, I think that the thing that I'm about to say is really the most important thing to know about fasting. Because there's hundreds of different kinds of fasts. Sure. Almost anything is a fast. But the thing that they all have in common is that after people fast, they put the weight back on. No matter what they are or what they eat or don't eat on the fast, when they stop fasting, they regain all the weight and more, a lot of times way more.
Yeah, I didn't fast to lose weight. I was fasting to detox and to break my addiction to yeast and breads and bagels. And so the weight loss was great. I lost like 5 pounds or 10 pounds. But that wasn't the goal. The goal was the detox. And you're right, I had to change the way that I ate.
Well, you see, you lost 150 pounds because you've approached your fast the right way. You didn't fast to lose weight. You fasted to be healthy, and you spent your fast dreaming about a whole new lifestyle where you weren't addicted to yeasts and you weren't going to eat a lot of bread, and you spent the fast thinking about what you weren't going to go back to eating, rather than dreaming of the German chocolate cake that you'd be able to have when the fast was over. You spent the fast dreaming of never eating any chocolate cake again.
I used to eat 4 bagels a day. A bagel by itself, a plain bagel, has between 350 and 400 calories. 4 bagels is almost a full daily caloric
That's right.
For human being. Not counting the cream cheese or butter or whatever else I would put on the
I
bagel.
have not eaten a bagel since I was a kid.
Yeah, I still eat bagels, but I'll eat 1 bagel a day. 1.
Well, anyway, so this is, I wanted to just say that I think that people who are overweight really need to detox, and to find out what kind of fast to do. There are many, many books you can read on it. We could even do a separate, one of these meetings just about fasting, and we could talk about all the tips and pointers, and because fasting isn't necessarily water fasting. People fast on fruit. People fast on, water with a little bit of cayenne and maple syrup in it.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
So
I did the pineapple juice fast, and I also made a potassium broth.
I once fasted on coconut water.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Coconut water is actually a very natural, like a sports drink.
But the point is, the person, if you losing weight is a very shallow goal. What you really want to do is feel good and be healthy and have. See, here's the thing about aging, okay? Aging is the same thing as dying. Like, so when you look a little older in the morning, it means that you're dying a little faster. Whereas if you keep your youthful, healthy appearance, that means that you're, probably going to live longer. And so the idea of, what I notice is when I do sort of a partial fast for half a day and I just have, let's say, vegetable juice, my face looks better, than if I eat a heavy meal at lunch. Often, that's often, not always true, but often true. So I do that.
I think at 62 I look pretty good. I mean,
you do.
A little punchy, but
You are a little pudge there, Bono, but you look good. You're cute too. You're a cute rabbit. Cute looking little rabbit there.
I have to say, most women today look better than I remember my grandmother looking like.
I know. My teachers were in their 40s and they look older than,
I know.
Well, people used to die at 45.
That's cool. But my dad, I come from good genes because my dad and even my mother, although she passed away many years ago, my father still, even though he's still got much hair on his head, he doesn't have very many wrinkles, or anything. He's
Your father looks great at 92.
Yeah, he also weighs, I think he weighs less than you do, Bard.
And he's a real wisecracker, too.
Yeah, so...
Now, Meredith, do you have any words of... You're a registered nurse, too, so perhaps you can give us the registered nurse's viewpoint on this, all this. What do you think about what we're talking about?
Which part of it?
Well, any part you feel like commenting on would be fine.
Well, one thing that I did religiously when I was really working hard on losing was to check my set point frequently, and if it went up, I would lower it immediately. And
could you just show us, do that right now? In fact, everybody do that and just show us how you do it. Hold your hands up so we can see your fingers for testing. Okay. Now say it out loud, whatever it is you're doing. Meredith, you go, so you could say what you're doing.
All right. First, I'm going to check what my set point is at this time. Is my set point below 250? And I get, yes, it's below 250. Is it below 220? No. Is it between 220 and 230?
And the set point is the weight that you won't drop below. You're set to stay above that weight. So now you're going to lower that set point. Is that right?
Right. And I want to lower my set point.
Well, say I'm lowering my set point. Don't say I want to.
Okay. All right. Well, I was just telling you what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I'm getting a good one for you is 115.
Yeah, Keely and I used to do this, and we always set it below where we wanted to go. So.
Well, I'm lowering my set point to 135.
That sounds good. I'm lowering mine too.
Well, I tested my perfect weight would be 210. I'm currently right now around 230, 235. I go up and down about 5 pounds. And I'm going to lower my set point to 190. I'm getting a yes. That's a yes.
Well, that's a little tip about set points, and also
Well, I'll
how
tell
we
you, my
test for
set point
things.
to me is a range that I work within. It's not like that I won't go below. It's like I'm sort of stuck there in terms of my lifestyle and how I'm manifesting myself and the choices I've made. So I am not frozen. My visage might be frozen. How about now? Still frozen?
There you go.
Oh, that's better.
Hey there.
Okay. Right now my set point is 182, which is actually, I've dropped it, and that was really from only eating what I needed to eat, not just what I wanted to eat when it was time to eat. And I just don't buy things that are, not good for me. So what I have around is just what's good for me, and I have to make do with that.
Right.
Right.
I see that, and then now I've had test an ideal weight for me, like where I'd want to change my set point. I will test. I mean, I did test it a moment ago, so let me try to test again. Is 170, 175, so 173. I mean, I can direct it towards my finger like this, but it's really my whole body that I'm testing with. And I'm just getting this, and it seems right. I really open up when I say that. That's, so really I'm conscious of that, and I've been conscious of losing weight and eating less each time and only eating when I need to. And then I test in advance, conscious while I'm eating, what is this food going to do to me? That's basically it. And then be willing to make the changes, be willing to, go through whatever and see the next step. It's not like that's it. It's that's life. That's my goals right now and my lifestyle right now.
Similar to what Bart was talking about earlier about exercising when you wake up to pump up your metabolism or to reset it. One of my constant immunic actions when I wake up in the morning is to raise my metabolism to 110% higher than it needs to be. Like I set my metabolism 110%.
Well, that's good, because I was hoping that we'd get more immunic actions in here for losing weight, because dieting is such a complicated subject, but immunics is pretty simple.
Right.
Yeah. So I set my at-rest metabolism to be higher, and I make sure all my organs are my allies so that my body detoxes properly and absorbs nutrients properly. And I keep myself in the calm, clear place so I don't ever get depressed, and then I don't need food to alter my mood. I control my mood myself immunically.
Well, speaking of which, I'm going to call a halt to our meeting shortly because I am starting to feel like I need some food to alter my mood. But I also wanted to just tell you what I had for dinner tonight. I had roast chicken from the Chinese grocery store, and I made Chinese bitter melon and mushrooms, and then I put with tamari and mirin and ginger as a sauce in there, and then I put sprinkled the bean sprouts over that, and put the chicken over that, and then I closed the wok and I heated the chicken in there. And then I had that over quinoa, so that's what I had for dinner.
Sounds good.
And I also had cactus salsa, which I made myself with chips. Made with genuine corn.
Cactus was it?
What'd you say?
What kind of cactus was it?
Oh, the kinds you put in cactus salsa, you know, those flat cactuses? You know,
Like prickly pear?
no, the prickly pears grow on them, though. It's the leaf of the cactus that the prickly pear grows on.
So that's a prickly pear cactus.
Yeah. And they you know, they get the prickles off it before you buy it. Okay, and then you
Yeah.
cut it up and you have to cook it for about 5 minutes. And then you put all the ingredients in, sort of warm it, but, you know, sort of, you don't actually cook the rest of the ingredients. So that's what I had. I had salsa with chips and some pine nuts, too.
Yolis.
Mm-hmm.
Pine nuts are wonderful.
Yeah. Lots of oil. Well, anyway, guys, so this has been very good being with all of you. And we must do it again soon.
Sure.
Franny, thank you for being here with us, gracing our call with your holiness.
With your grace.
With her buttoness.
Her holiness.
I lost weight just being on this call.
And thank you very much, Meredith, also for joining us. It's, you know,
Sipping water at room temperature. That's one of the tips from Deepak Chopra's The Perfect Weight.
Right, right. And thank you, Al, for bringing all your wonderful results here to be with us, and Greg for hanging in there, and Meredith thanks for losing that weight. I remember when you and I talked about losing weight. It was like several years ago.
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring. You're an inspiration.
60 pounds is not inconsiderable.
That's a lot.
Keep
I
on,
lost about
keep
20.
on keeping on. Oh, Greg lost 20. All right, Greg.
From my high, I was about 205 my high. I'm about 182 right now, but
205. My God.
I'm sorry.
Gee.
Yeah,
Well,
you do look thinner because there was a period when you went really up